Hey everyone, welcome back to Pitchside TV. This is Alex here from Signables, and I've got with me Craig from the Same Old Arsenal, a podcast and YouTube channel where he has 11,000 subscribers on YouTube and is connecting with Arsenal fans all over the world. How you doing?
I'm very well, Alex. Thank you very much. An absolute pleasure to join you. So thanks for having me.
No problem. Happy to have you on. You've got viewers where? Where are they based from?
All over. Obviously, our biggest listenership is in the UK. But according to my analytics, America is the second biggest listenership. So thank you very much to everyone in America who's watching this for tuning in and showing your support. But it's mad, really, when I get the analytics through every month. And, you know, I was doing a live watch along last night and there was a fellow in the chat box from Jamaica. And I'm like, why is a man from Jamaica watching me?
Yeah,
you know? It's mad. It's mad to have, you know, to hear people say that when I'm from Jamaica and Russia and Vancouver in Canada, and I'm thinking these people are watching me sitting down watching a football match. But absolutely. You know, it's great to interact with everyone, because I can't always do the interacting, you see, because I'm the host of the podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that normally does all the question asking with the panel, and so it's good for me to just sit back, relax, and and interact with the people who support us.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. So when did you start your venture? You've got your YouTube, you've got your podcasts. When did you start all this, and what was your inspiration there?
So going back a few years ago, many years ago, I used to listen to a podcast called the Bergkamp Wonderland. That was the first Arsenal podcast I'd ever heard. You know, when smartphones came out and you can do all this extra stuff, you know, downloading podcasts from iTunes and stuff, you know, you go on there and you search and you search your interests. And I found this podcast called the Bergkamp Wonderland, and I used to listen to it all the time. And then, of course, Arsenal Fan TV kind of took it to the next step.
That took off.
With doing the videos outside the ground and interviewing people outside the ground. So the two of them, really, Bergkamp Wonderland and Arsenal Fan TV, were the ones that kind of inspired me to do what I want to do. I used to run, before the Same Old Arsenal podcast, I had another channel that was called the Gooner Talk, but I took a step back from that and I passed that on actually to a friend of mine called Tom Canton, I think, who you've had on here before. He's now running it, and he's taken it to new, he's kind of made it his own now. He's taken it to new levels himself. And then I was kind of missing talking about football to it, not just Arsenal, but football in general, or soccer, of course, as you call it, across the water. But so I started the Same Old Arsenal podcast in 2017.
Okay.
Rest is history, really. The rest is history. Here we are.
That's great. That's very good. Yeah, it's always been something for, I think, everyone who does media stuff for soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. It's great interacting with people. It shows it really is the world's game. You get people from everywhere.
Absolutely.
That's always a fun thing. So I guess another question for you is, you sort of touched on how it's like engaging with Arsenal fans. And I know you mentioned you do these live watch-alongs.
Yeah.
So have you made any friendships, any connections, any connections with followers or other accounts, other podcasts? I know.
Yeah, of course. I mean, Lee Judges, who is the, fast becoming the go-to interview on Arsenal Fan TV. I met him through football, through or football Twitter, as we call it over here. Yep. I've met Lee and all the people that are on who are part of my team or I've met on social media. You've got Dan, you've got Graham, who is on Arsenal Fan TV as well. Then I've also got a mate of mine, Mark, who I've known since I was knee high to a grasshopper. We used to play football together when we were kids. We played for the same team together, and we went through school together. And this year he's come on board.
Oh, that's great. Lots
of friendships have been made with people I didn't think I'd make friends with. Like, I'm good friends with Kevin Campbell. He's ex-striker, ex-Arsenal striker.
There you go.
I've spoken to Warren Barton, ex-Newcastle and England, and who I believe is working in America as a pundit on some channels. So to get in touch with people like that, and to talk to people like that, and to have them on your phone, it's pretty mad.
It's
amazing,
is
pretty mad. But then it's kind of normal as well. You kind of become friends and you become mates.
Yeah.
They're not. Don't get me wrong now. That they're legends in their own regard. But you know when they're on their phone and you're texting them every other day talking about football, you just become mates, and you kind of forget about
the fame, I guess.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you don't let that affect your friendship. Do you know what I mean? If that makes sense, do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you're conversing and on social media, it's a bit of an equalizer. If you get someone to respond to your message, for example.
Yeah, of course. I mean, come here. I've sent messages to plenty of ex-players and ex-pundits, and that you'd want to bring onto a podcast to have a word, and 99% of the time they say no.
Yeah.
5% of the time they say no, and 95% of the time they don't answer.
Yeah, exactly. That's the issue. But definitely the ones who you do connect with, I definitely understand that one. It's nice. It's nice. It's just another conversation between friends. So I guess you've had this operation running for a while now. You've been doing this for a little bit. You're comfortable with it. You do your watch alongs. You've got, I was looking at some of your YouTube videos as well. You've got the podcast. What is like a favorite episode moment? Is there anything that stands out to you as something that's been particularly enjoyable?
Well, every week's enjoyable if I have to be, and I'm not just saying that. Every week is enjoyable. Where I live, there's not many Arsenal fans around. It's more Manchester United, Celtic, Liverpool. So every week for me to meet up with the boys and talk, the way, when I first started the podcast, the way I wanted it to run was I just wanted it to come across as that we were four lads sitting in a bar. Yeah. And we'd just come from the ground and we're sitting in a pub and we're sitting around a round table. We've all got a pint in our hands and we're talking. And that's the format that I wanted to follow. And that's the format that we have followed.
That's great.
And I'm very proud of that. We're not, there's a cliche against people who do podcasts and YouTube channels that we're in it for the money and, we're using our clubs to make money and this, that and the other. Well, you have to be anyone who's had a go at YouTube knows how hard it is.
Oh yeah, it's not easy.
It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, we hit 11,000 subscribers this week, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, absolutely amazing. I never thought I'd have 11,000 subscribers. But it's not about money, and I can say it's not about because I've demonetized my channel now. I've demonetized it. There's no adverts on it. There's no super chats. There's no memberships because you can do that now, to generate income. But what I have got a coffee page. Mm-hmm. So if people are watching it and they do, and they think, I want to buy the boys a beer, they can log on to that page and they can buy us a beer. And don't get me wrong, everything, it's gratefully received. Yeah. But I don't want my followers or viewers to feel that they have to.
Yeah, it's not the focus.
I'm going to do it anyway. I'll keep doing it as long as people keep watching it. Mm-hmm. So that's how I'm running it. I mean, we have on average. The last few weeks, on average, we have 500 live viewers while we're doing it, which is amazing. And then obviously on the replays, then we could get between 3,000 to 7,000 views when it's on YouTube. And not to forget that this is a podcast that's recorded live. This is not it's not a 6-minute video where you'd get 25,000, 30,000 views on it because it's a quick watch. Yeah, these are an hour and a half long. So to get that many views, it's great. And of course, then once we've recorded the live podcast on YouTube, the audio goes up I rip the audio from the video and it goes up on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So there you got the best of the both worlds. Then you can, I've had people send me photographs of in a traffic jam on the Golden Gate Bridge, and it says the same old Arsenal podcast on their dashboards, So it's pretty mad. It's pretty mad.
That's great. Yeah. Definitely has a way of connecting people for sure. That's good to see. Yeah, it's impressive for sure, and I know exactly what you mean. It's all about the authenticity and just doing what you love. It's not about what you gain from it because you're going to be there. I bet if you had 10 consistent viewers every week, you'd still sit around and just.
Oh, of course, absolutely. You see, the thing about it is, it's good therapy for us as well.
Yeah.
If we're playing on a Saturday and we lose, we're holding in the frustration until Monday night. Mm-hmm. We let it all out on Monday night. Everyone says what they've got to say, and then afterwards, when we've gone there, we're all sitting back going, "Oh,
yeah.
Do you know what? God, I'm glad we've done that because I'm glad I got that off my chest."
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And you go about your week.
Yeah. You mentioned letting out some of that frustration. I guess that would be a time maybe to transition into a little bit of how Arsenal's done this season. I know it wasn't the ideal season so far. There's been a lot of divided opinion Arteta. I know. What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on this season? Maybe what it means for the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, this season hasn't been good enough, has it? I mean, very naive of me to say that it has. It hasn't been good enough. Arsenal, where they are in the league, should never happen. It's not been good for Mikel Arteta either. But I think a lot of people got to take into consideration what's happening in the world at the moment, what's happening in the world when he joined. Mm-hmm. You know, and people can say it was the same for other managers. My argument to that would be, yeah, it is, but they've got, they're settled. They know who their manager is. They know who their players are. He came in very strange times. Got COVID-19 himself.
Yeah.
Was out for God knows how long. Europa, this European Super League business, big distraction.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And I understand where people are coming from. I do. I understand where people are coming from. They want better for the club, and so do I. But I've always said, anyone who watches the podcast, who's watching this now, I've always said I'll give him to the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And I'll judge him at the end of the season, and I'll make my judgments. Losing last night obviously hasn't gone very well. That doesn't go very well against him. Losing 2-1 to Villarreal in Spain in the semi-final of the Europa League,
especially Emery, I guess.
This is it. Yeah. And I mean,
injury.
The irony is that Unai Emery went full Arsenal in the second half with Villarreal, and that's how we got back in.
Yeah.
We get the penalty, we scored a goal. It's an away goal, so it's
not out of it.
Arsenal, exactly that, and that's what I've done a live stream today on the channel, and I'm trying to say to people, okay, I agree with you, the performance was awful. I agree with you, the formation was awful. I agree with you that Arteta got it wrong. But let's step out the circle a minute. We're still in the tie. Mm-hmm. Bringing them back to the Emirates and beating them 2-0 is not an impossible task.
Oh, you're a lot better off than Roma are after.
Oh, well, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree. It's people need to maybe have a little more patience in a lot of things. I think we've seen that with a lot of clubs, the pandemic, the Super League stuff. There's been a lot going on in the sport. Just in these past few weeks, let alone these past couple of years. I know for my personal club, Chelsea, Lampard had his fair share of difficulties coming in at a very difficult transition period as well. Yeah. So it's never easy. It always looks easy, I guess, for us to sit there and criticize these managers and these players, but
exactly, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, do we? We don't know what problems they've got. But look, I agree. I would agree with an Arsenal fan when he says that he wants what's best for the club, and that's for Arteta to go. And if that's what it's going to take, I want what's best for the club just as well as the next Arsenal fan next to me. And if it means that Mikel Arteta has to go, even though I've supported him for a year, even though I like him, then if that's what's best for the club, then that's what's got to happen. Yeah, no, that's definitely that's the rational take on it. That's what I was always saying to my own personal viewers and followers as well. Was you just got to give back the manager until they're out of the club. You wait and let the club decide, because ranting and raving at this guy is not going to get him fired any sooner. No. It's not. And to be honest with you, if I'm going to be really honest, I don't think he will be sacked, and I think he will be here next year. So these people that are calling him out and calling him this and calling him that, and disrespecting him and calling him stupid names, and what happens on social media, when there's no comeback. Do you know? I mean, look what we are today. I mean, we've stopped our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram until Monday because of it. But it still goes on. The Kroenkes have obviously brought in Mikel Arteta for a 3-year stint. That's what Arteta's going to get, I feel. I totally believe that Mikel Arteta will be the Arsenal manager next year. That's just my own opinion. Do I believe that's the right choice? I'm not too sure. Especially if we win the Europa League. If we go and beat Villarreal and we go and beat Manchester United in the final, that means we're then back in the Champions League. Yeah, I have to sit back and say, do I want Mikel Arteta to manage Arsenal in the Champions League? Yeah, I mean that's definitely a consideration always. Do you credit the manager for getting there, or do you say thank you for the achievement? Now we need to look forward. That's always a debate for sure. Yeah. And I guess like you mentioned as well, you mentioned that you expect them to be here next year. Do you think, I know often the people defending a certain manager or remaining optimistic even when results aren't the best are looking to the next transfer window. Do you have any dream? What's your dream Arsenal signing for this upcoming summer? There's a few of them, to be honest.
You could also mention what positions, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like Arsenal need, for me to get back to kind of top four, challenging for the top four, we need at least 250 million pounds spent on this team. To bring in some class players. You know, we the players we've got there have been there for a long time.
Yeah,
I think they've kind of got their feet under the desk, if you like, nice and comfy.
Yeah,
don't have to do much to get their money. They're on astronomical wages.
Shake it up a little.
Yeah, what I want is I'm not interested in 100 million pound players, 150 million pound players. What I'm interested in is players that will come in and upgrade.
Yeah.
If he costs 25 million and he's an upgrade, go and pay for him. Go and pay the 25 million. Don't muck about. If he's 25 million and the club's asking 25, put your 25 on the table, bring him in if he upgrades the team. For example, we need a new right back. Max Aarons from Norwich. Might cost us 30, 40 million. But he's an upgrade.
Yeah.
Basuma from Brighton.
Oh, he'd be great.
Come in and partner party. That's going to cost 30, 40 million.
Wow.
Could go to 50.
Yeah.
But just go, instead of messing around, just go in. How much do you want for him? We want 50 million for him. Right, there you go. There's your 50 million. Don't muck about. Get him over here. I think we're also looking at Edouard from Celtic. He'll come in at 25 to 30 million pounds, I suppose. I mean, my dream signing will be Hassam Aouar from Lyon. I was getting a bit excited about signing him last season, and then of course
last year, I remember.
Yeah. I mean, if I totally believe if we'd have signed him, we wouldn't be where we are now.
And he's still very young, isn't he?
Still very young, yeah. Still very young. And to go back for him, I'd love to see him at Arsenal. I think we all need a player like him. And Manchester United went out and got one in Bruno Fernandes. He's been absolute revelation for Manchester United. Since he's come in, they've improved leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
So it just goes to show that one player can change the whole predicament. You know. So I'm hoping that man will be Aouar. Not too sure if we're going to go back in for him or not. I'd be very surprised if we don't, because I think the groundwork is laid for him to come in the summer.
Yeah.
We were trying to sign him in January, and perhaps behind closed doors, it's been said, look, stay at Lyon, we'll come back for you in the summer. And there's been a gentleman's agreement, and we just don't know about it. I hope I'm right. And I'd love to see him at the Emirates. I really would.
Yeah, certainly that would be helpful. I think we've all seen too. The midfield too is just a place that can absolutely make or break a team when your midfielders are in good form. I know, for example, I didn't see much of it, but I saw Ceballos was getting some stick after recent performances. I haven't watched him play, but I do remember there being a time earlier this season when if I recall correctly, he was playing quite well and getting getting good praise.
He's the most frustrating footballer I've ever seen at Arsenal. And I'm not having a go at his ability. What frustrates me about him is 1 week he could be Zidane. The next week he's awful.
Yeah.
Do you know, you just don't know what you're going to get with Ceballos.
The inconsistency.
You just do not know what you're going to get. Now, I thought he was going to be quite up for last night, going back to Spain. Playing in Spain, playing against the Spanish rival, because obviously he's unknown from Real Madrid. But no, he was shocking, and obviously got his marching orders as well.
Yeah, well, definitely. I think this could be a big transfer window for a lot of clubs. Obviously, you have the rumors of the likes of Haaland perhaps moving on. There are always the people flirting with Mbappe, those top clubs. Realistically, probably as a Chelsea fan myself as well, I don't think either of us should get too excited about those two big name stars. But
no, well, they're certainly not coming this way anyway.
No, maybe not. But I agree with you there, though, that it's not always about getting that £100 million talisman signing. It can be just as simple as easy upgrade. And I think
and getting Premier League proven players that have played in the Premier League and know the league, instead of taking a chance on someone and having to wait 2 years for him to adapt.
Yeah.
Before you see any good. I mean, yourselves there with Timo Werner.
Yeah.
Timo Werner is one of the best strikers in Europe. It's going to take Timo Werner to bang two in one game, and then he won't stop.
Yeah.
Do you know I remember when we signed Dennis Bergkamp. He didn't score, and then we were all thinking, oh my God, this fella's, and then he bangs one in.
The floodgates open. There you go.
The rest is history. Do you know, one of the best players to play in the Premiership, and for me, in my opinion, the best player to ever put on an Arsenal shirt.
Yeah, that's absolutely something to be said about I mean, yeah, you see teams balancing the payoff short term versus long term, youth versus big money signings. It's so tough too, especially when the fans expect success, but at the same time, you want consistent progress. And we saw that too with Chelsea. Even there was some tension between, should we be trusting these youth and keeping developing, or do we need to go back in and invest?
Yeah.
And in some cases, as you said, it's the signings from other leagues don't always work out like they would in a video game.
I mean, even at Chelsea, take a look at Reece James.
Yeah, homegrown.
Was playing on loan at Wigan.
Yeah.
Look at Mason Mount, one of the best midfield players in England.
Mm-hmm.
He was on loan at Derby County 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So you don't have to always go looking. You don't always have to go looking for the transfer market. Some of the times it's right on your doorstep. You just got to give it a chance. Look at us. Bakayoko Saka, Smith Rowe, Balogun, Martinelli.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes the players that you need are right under your feet. You've just got to give them a chance.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree there. Balogun, perhaps I'm happy for him to be wherever he is in the Premier League. I'd love for him to represent the US.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Has he pledged his allegiance to anyone?
I honestly don't know. I don't keep up with it enough, but I remember a lot of US men's national team accounts were trying to butter him up.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, we'll just have to see how he goes, won't we? Because we'll be buttering him up if he starts scoring goals. So.
Exactly. Well, that's definitely, it's going to be a very interesting summer for a lot of these top clubs, Arsenal included. I mean, I think that's about it. I don't have any more crazy difficult questions. It's been great talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Good getting a sense of how you've built this same old Arsenal brand. You've built the podcast, the YouTube, and you've got this really well established follower base. It's impressive. It's good to hear.
We're also on Twitch now. We started kind of dabbling with Twitch. So what I've done is we're doing the watch-alongs on Twitch.
Okay.
So if you're watching this before Sunday, 2:00 my time, which is GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, 2:00 on Twitch. I'll be doing a live watch-along for Newcastle Arsenal. So if you're about, come over to Twitch. Come and join me. Come in the chat box, say hello.
That's awesome. That's great to see. That's a good suggestion, honestly. Maybe I'll have to take a leaf out of that book. I like it. But thank you very much for coming on. And I think...
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Before we finish up, maybe we could offer a giveaway to some of your followers. I'm not sure exactly where you want to draw from, but I think maybe YouTube would be a good starting place. I know you get quite a few views on your YouTube videos. So perhaps for any followers of the Same Old Arsenal watching this right now, head over to Pitchside TV, where this video will also be posted, and subscribe to Pitchside TV on YouTube, and we can offer an Arsenal signable of your choice to a random winner selected from the Same Old Arsenal's channel. So
sounds great. How about that?
Great.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thank you very much indeed. Much appreciated.
No worries at all. But keep doing what you're doing, and thank you for your time. Good luck.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for having me.